Okay, so what we are going to do today is build a very simple, very quick speedometer for your Android device. We're not going to do anything fancy, no fancy user interface. We're just going to display the speed on the screen. We're going to do it in meters per second because that's by default what the stock location class gives you. You could write your own location classes to transform that, to convert that into something else. But meters per second is what we'll do right now because the goal here is to show you what you need to do, and then you can take it and run with it and do whatever you would like to do to make your own fancy speedometer. So what we have here is just an empty workspace, and we are going to create a new Android application project. I'm going to call it Speedometer, and I'm going to put my package name in here. Yours will be different. And then you can choose your targeted SDK versions, the targeted versions of Android, and the minimum required versions. You can change those to fit whatever you want to do. Pretty much everything else, we're going to take the defaults. If you want your own little icon, you can do that. Again, that's a little bit beyond the scope of what we're doing, but have fun, do whatever you want to do. And we're just going to create a blank activity. The activity name is going to be the name of the class that is created in your source. Name it whatever you'd like. Again, I'm just keeping the defaults to make things simple. And we will let it'll take a few seconds for the initial project to build and to get all the source files together and to build the initial user interface. We are going to, again, it's going to be very simple. We're not going to do anything crazy or anything special. And this is what you'll see when you get everything loaded at first. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit just so we can see a little better. If you were to run this right now on your Android device, you'd have, this is what you'd see on your screen. You'd have an app called Speedometer, and all it would say was Hello World. You'd see an icon in your app drawer for Speedometer as well. So let's get going. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that hello world that they have in there initially, and I'm going to put my own text view in here. I'm just going to grab text view from over here in the widgets. I'm going to stick it in the middle of the screen. See, it'll snap into place. I'm just going to put it right there. And you'll notice over here in the properties pane, its ID is text view 1. That will be important later. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to edit its text. And I'm going to do a new string, and I'm going to call this string initial speed and 0.0 meters per second. And that's just what's going to show up first on your device. So you start this application, you'll see the name of the app, and you'll see 0.0 meters per second. And that's all we need to do here in our layout screen. So I'm going to save this layout, and I'm just going to go ahead and close it. Now I want to go to my Android manifest file, and to be able to use the GPS chip, you've got to tell your application what permissions. You've got to tell the operating system what permissions your application needs. So open up your Android manifest XML file. It'll come up here, and go to the permissions tab right here. And we're going to add a new permission, uses permission, and we're going to drop this box down right here, and we want to access fine location. And we click over here, and now we see our permission added, and we save that. And we're done in there now. Now we're going to go up to our source, and we have a single source file up here. And this is the source for our application. And so when your application runs, this function right here is going to be run by default. This is the function that's going to be run. This is where you'd set up your application and load anything you needed to load, but we don't even have to do that because we're going super simple. But what we do want to do is we want this class to be able to access the location, to access your GPS chip, and to be able to tell where, to be able to get updates from your location manager, which is going to tell us when our location has changed, and that's how we're going to get our speed. So the first thing we want to do is this class is a child class of activity, but we also want to implement a class called location listener. So this main activity is also going to be a location listener class. And so here in Eclipse you'll see that you now have a new error. And the error is simply that we have not implemented the proper classes that we need to implement location listener. So I'm going to click over here on our little thing over on our error message, and I'm going to say add unimplemented methods. And you'll see them all down here show up. Now you can go and look at the Android documentation to figure out what all of these things do. The only one we're going to be concerned about for this purpose is location changed, on location changed. So what we need to do first is we need to register our class as a listener for the main location manager. So we are going to get a reference to the location manager. We'll just call him LM. Location manager. This dot get system service, and it is called context dot location service. So this is going to get us a reference to the location manager, Android wide, and we are going to register our location listener, our main class, with the location manager. So lm dot request location updates. So what we want to do, the provider, this is the location provider that we want to get updates from, and what we want to do is get updates from the GPS provider. Now this minimum time and minimum distance has to do with fine-tuning how often you want to get updates. Now, to save battery life and all that, you can tune these to your preferences. I'm setting both of these to 0, so we're going to get application updates or location updates as soon as they're available to us. Now, this can drain your battery, so take that for what it's worth. Tweak it to your tweak it for your purposes. And then the listener is the listener we're going to add. So basically we're going to add this. Okay? So what we've done is we have registered ourselves to receive location updates. Easy. And just for good measure, I'm going to go ahead and call on location changed, and I'm just going to pass in a null. I'll show you why I do that here in just a second, just to initialize everything, get everything set to 0 to start with. So that's what we need to do to receive our location updates. Now, like I said, we've got all these classes down, these methods down here that we don't even really need to use right now. You will want to use those in a full-fledged application so that you can tell when the status of the GPS listener has changed and all these other things, and be able to get the last time you've got a GPS fix and how many satellites you've got fixes on, all this kind of stuff. But again, we're not going to worry about that right now. So because we registered ourselves with the location manager, our own location changed function will be called each time there's an update for the location. Now, just to be safe, I'm going to check this location. I'm going to null check it. And if I'm null, I'm going to set my speed. I'm just going to set it to 0.0 meters per second, or maybe I'll just set it to a placeholder or something like that. But what I have to do first is I have to get a reference to that text field we created. Remember, over in our layout, we created this text field here, and it was text field 1. So let's get a reference to our text field, text view. I'm sorry. We'll just call it text. This dot find view by ID, and our ID is text view 1. Now you can get paranoid here and check this thing for null. I know it's there, so we're going to be pretty safe here. So what I'm going to do, if my speed is null, text dot set text to let's just set it to that. That way we know that we haven't got any location, any speed yet. So if it's not null, then we're going to have a speed. So our current speed is location dot get speed, and we're going to do text dot set text to and that is it. Now you can build this thing and run it on your device, go outside and walk around, and you will see your speed being updated. And that is it. Very easy, very simple. Go have fun.